So this is a pretty unusual vehicle. Now here's the thing, of those 238,000 and change LeMans Tempest GTOs, only 3,872 were four-door hardtops like this. In fact, just about the same number of GTO convertibles were made. This is a very rare body style. Hey, Steve Bignani here doing the junkyard crawl at Bernardston, Massachusetts, in Bernardston, at Bernardston Auto Wrecking. You know what I'm talking about. This is a 1970 Pontiac LeMans four-door hardtop. Now here's the thing, you got to remember, they weren't all GTOs. In 1970, only 40,149 GTOs were built and sold versus 238,676 Tempest, LeMans, and GTOs. And a good chunk were four doors, but this one's kind of special. We'll get into that in a second. Now this one here is relatively normally optioned. It has the iron drum brakes up front. Discs were available. This one even has manual drum brakes. You would have paid an extra 64 bucks for a power booster. And there it is right there, the manual dual circuit drum brakes all the way around on this one. The engine in this one is, let's see here, it's a 350. And yeah, it's a two-barrel. Okay, this is something you'd have paid $110.59 for this base 350 two-barrel over the 250 inline six. And there's the Rochester 2CG carburetor right there, or actually two-jet, excuse me. It's a dual jet, so anyway, two-jet carb. But again, this is the 350 two-barrel. You could get a 354 barrel, even a 400 in a four-door like this. And again, they weren't all GTOs. There's something kind of cool on this one. This is the, somebody put this cover over that engine. Well, this is actually a Pontiac floor mat. Look at that. This is something that was probably sold at the dealership. Hey, another $8 will save the floor mats. So here they are, you know, 40 years, 50 years later, serving as covers to keep water out of that 350 two-barrel. It hasn't worked too well. The valve cover here, oh, look at this, a dead mouse. Is that a mouse? I don't know, a little mouse factory in there. It's called Mouse Condo, very cute. So this is basically the Pontiac 350 that swallowed the mouse. Not a Chevy 350, an actual mouse. Anyway, this one here, we can read a little bit. You see, paint code 50, so that would be the Sierra Yellow. And again, this is a four-door hardtop. Now here's the thing, we all know the Pontiac GTO, we love it, the Humbler. This is Car Life magazine, April of 1970. And in here, the test of the Cougar 302 Eliminator, the Hornet V8, GTO 455 Ram Air, versus Ram Air 400. So in other words, it's a showdown of the great one, and here it is. And apparently the 455, who knew, was not the top engine. The Ram Air 400 was the top engine. So here's a duke out of the two engines. And basically Car Life said that if you want a nice cruiser with air conditioning, that'll lace from rubber, get that 455. But if you really want a serious GTO, you want to get yourself a Ram Air 4. And here's the thing, production, well, the Ram Air 4 4-speeds, only 627 of those were built, 455 automatics, 1,986. So pretty rare stuff. The vast majority, again, were the standard 400 with 350 horsepower in 1970. But again, you know, they weren't all GTOs, and a large chunk of Pontiac LeMans and Tempest were four doors like this one. But getting back to that four-door thing, this is a hardtop, not a pillar coupe. So this is a pretty unusual vehicle. Now here's the thing, of those 238,000 and change LeMans Tempest GTOs, only 3,872 were four-door hardtops like this. In fact, just about the same number of GTO convertibles were made. This is a very rare body style. As we make our way around, we can see, you know, big trunk. The trunk's missing on this one. We can still see signs of the Sierra Yellow paint on the bottoms of the trunk hinges right here. The big wraparound rear bumper, which was a new detail for Pontiac. Cross-flow radiator sitting right here in the back of the trunk, right here. An old cherry Coke can. Oh, look at this. With the Vermont, Connecticut, Mass 5-cent refund. When I was a kid, I used to run around getting nickel cans. You could actually crank up a few bucks when a $5 bill meant something back in the day. But this one has the optional vinyl top, and we can see right here that it comes around here. And even on the door, Pontiac even had this little trim piece right here that simulates the look of a vinyl top to sort of allow the cut line to not look so bare. Kind of weird. Inside, there's the hardtop body style. And once again, we don't see a fixed B-pillar right here. It's wide open, no fixed door frames, nothing. So again, this body style, like 3600, whatever it was made less, just about the same number as a GTO convertible on this one. Now here's the big thing. We look at the seat belts on this and we can see these are the GM seat belts with the GM logo, and this is the shoulder harness, or the shoulder belt right here. And it is right here, the model 6950, and this is a date code 20F1970. And here's the thing. The anchor point for a shoulder harness has to be durable and rugged. And for the most part, when these are in hard tops, the anchor is into a place in the roof. Where is it on this? There's no B-pillar. Well, there is an anchor point here in the roof, which allows this hard top to have a place for your shoulder harness to go. Now keep in mind, 1970, or actually January of 69 was the first year that shoulder harnesses had to be included on all vehicles. Before that, they were optional. The downside to a lap belt and no shoulder is the possibility of what they call spinal cord separation in a hard crash, where your pelvis stays put because of the lap belt, but your body keeps going. That's why the shoulder harness keeps all of you in the seat, which is a nice upgrade. Now this is kind of cool here. This is Car Prices magazine right here. This is all the new cars for 1970, and this was put out, I think, by I'm not sure, but anyway, American Car Prices magazine is what it's called. And inside here is a rundown of Pontiac pricing right there. On the left, we can see that the four-door hardtop was $3,200, which was about $130 more than the four-door hardtop coupe sedan, I should say. And down here we can see the prices. The power steering would have been $105. Power brakes, disc brakes, $64, not that much. And of course, different with GTO, etc. Now here we see the 352 barrel next line over, $110. And the 400 was possible. The 455 GTO only, so you're not going to get a 455 or a Ram Air 4 in a four-door like this. But again, this is a pretty uncommon body style. In fact, just about the same number, 3,600 or so of these things were made as Pontiac GTO convertibles. Now something you'll see on these hardtop four-doors that you won't see on the two-doors is this vent window right here. This puppy here is something that's only seen on these four-doors, and look at that, it still works. It's got a crank to it, kind of a cool little deal, not the manual deal, but again, this is something on the two-doors. They got away from this in 68. So you don't see that, but again, kind of a cool little detail, old and new at the same time. Front fender on this one here, optional junkyard X-ray. And here we have, again, that iron drum brake right here, 9.5 inches. There was an aluminum drum available on GTOs, and I believe all Pontiacs from 65, 6, 7, and then the disc brake package replaced it. But this is an iron drum, again, 9.5 inches. That's the same size brake with a 6-cylinder or Ram Air 4 GTO, unless you got the disc brakes. But I was shocked by that. But again, Pontiac is a body-on-frame. Here is the perimeter frame right here, sits underneath the body. And if we look right here, we can see one of the rubber biscuits. This is one of the body mounts right here that would help to isolate the body from the frame and give you a more squishy boulevard ride. This is actually like a hockey puck. It's made of rubber, kind of a trippy thing. But we can see this one has definitely disintegrated and deteriorated its way out of there. And again, unlike a GTO, no rubber nose on LeMans. This is basically a fiberglass type nose, no hideaway headlights, none of that kind of stuff, no rubber, no Endura nose. So that's the story of how the Pontiac Tempest and LeMans really carried the major lifting for Pontiac midsize. GTO is just a drop in the bucket, 40,000 of them. The vast majority were larger bodies like this, four-doors. But again, the four-door hardtop, it's not a sedan. Pretty rare bird right here. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to the Steve Mag's YouTube channel, and be sure to give us a like, maybe even share us, and hit the bell so you know when the next video is coming out, which is tomorrow morning.